Greetings, curious minds, and welcome to the deep dive. Today we're plunging headfirst into a concept that's been, well, humanity's longest held dream, really. It's been whispered about in utopian visions for centuries, and now, honestly, with technology accelerating at this unbelievable pace, it feels closer than ever to becoming our reality. We're talking about universal basic income, UBI. But hang on, this isn't just about, a simple cash payment or some new kind of welfare scheme. Not at all. Our sources today, they paint a truly transformative picture. They see UBI as the absolute cornerstone of a radical new societal structure, something they call an electric technocracy. Just imagine a world where advanced AI and automated infrastructure manage society's resources super efficiently, generating abundance, specifically to fund a universal basic income for every single person. It's about liberating us from the necessity of labor. It's a world where machines do the work and humans are genuinely free. Free to live, free to create, free to explore.
Indeed. And our deep dive today draws from a really fascinating stack of material. It takes us on this epic journey, doesn't it? We'll trace humanity's ancient struggle with scarcity. We'll confront those primal fears that have shaped our societies for millennia. And we'll follow that thread all the way to a potential future where poverty as we actually know it, could become just a memory, like something out of a history book. So our mission today is to really unpack this audacious vision of the electric technocracy. We need to explore its compelling promises, scrutinize the frankly profound criticisms it faces, and truly try to understand if such a massive societal shift isn't just presented as possible, but, as our sources suggest, maybe even inevitable. Get ready for some genuine aha moments, I think, because the implications here are, well, they're profound.
Okay, so to truly grasp the radical promise of UBI, we first need to confront this millennia-long struggle. It's like a shadow that's defined our existence since we first walked the earth. The relentless specter of scarcity. Let's unpack this by looking back a bit. For tens of thousands of years, human life was just this constant, arduous struggle for survival, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dictated entirely by the unforgiving whims of nature.
Absolutely. It wasn't optional, it was everything.
Our sources paint such a vivid picture of early hunter-gatherers. Their very existence, it says here, was a daily lottery.
A lottery, yeah. Their lives were just this relentless quest for calories, painstakingly gathering berries, following migrating herds, always on the edge.
And the stakes were incredibly high. A single bad season, an unexpected climate shift, maybe the game just moves on.
And entire tribes could starve. Survival wasn't some philosophical thing back then. It was raw, immediate, the all-consuming challenge of every single day.
Can you imagine waking up knowing your family's survival hinged entirely on that day's hunt or forage? That was the reality.
A pervasive, constant reality.
Then came the agricultural revolution. Monumental leap, obviously. But it brought, well, a truly mixed bag of blessings, didn't it?
Definitely a mixed bag. It introduced storage, which was revolutionary granaries, fields, livestock, a steady source of food, seemingly.
It seemed like the answer, right?
Huh.
Banish the daily lottery.
You'd think so. But our sources highlight that this didn't usher in some golden age of peace or universal prosperity. Far from it, actually.
So what happened instead?
Instead, it birthed new, rigid societal structures. Hierarchies popped up, demanding ever-increasing taxes from people. This concentration of resources, it fueled the rise of powerful rulers and almost inevitably ignited brutal wars over the best land, over water rights.
So wealth didn't get spread around.
No, it concentrated heavily in the hands of a few elites, the vast majority. They still lived hand to mouth, constantly teetering on the edge of deprivation, even with this apparent surplus being generated.
So the form of scarcity changed, maybe, but its grip remained just as firm.
Precisely, it just shifted shape.
Okay, fast forward then to the Industrial Revolution. This surely promised to finally break the cycle, right? Factories, steam engines, electricity. This incredible, clean, almost limitless energy potential.
Humanity became more productive than ever before. It really did seem like the means to finally overcome scarcity were within reach.
But there's always a but, isn't there?
There usually is. As our sources reveal, this promise, too, remained largely unfulfilled for the masses. Wealth distribution was still profoundly unequal.
Millions toiled in these difficult, monotonous, often dangerous jobs. You think of the coal mines, the textile factories, the steel mills.
Terrible conditions, long hours, meager pay. Meanwhile, a small elite, the capital owners, they amassed unimaginable fortunes.
So for most people, work was still, as the sources put it, compulsion, not choice. just grim necessity for survival, not really a path to fulfillment.
Exactly. The pattern persists. And what's really striking here is how consistent that underlying fear has been through all these different eras. Even today, in many rich countries, life is still permeated with this gnawing fear of downfall.
You mean like worrying about getting sick, losing your job?
Exactly. Severe illness, sudden unemployment, the economic fallout of divorce, the specter of old age poverty. It's all still there. Our sources describe it eloquently as the primal fear of humankind, that constant dread of losing the very basis of your existence.
It's not just history then, it's still shaping things now.
Absolutely. It shapes modern decisions, careers, finances, family planning. It's this deep-seated vulnerability, the sword of Damocles metaphor they use. It captures that feeling perfectly.
That sense of a threat just hanging over you.
Yes, that constant invisible threat, reminding you how precarious security can be. You could be stable one day, then bam, an economic downturn, a health crisis, a natural disaster.
And the rug's pulled out from under you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Plunged into vulnerability. Even with all our modern advancements, that fundamental insecurity persists. It drives us.
But now, our sources suggest we're standing before another revolution, one that could maybe finally break this millennia-old cycle. We're talking artificial intelligence, robotics, advanced materials, and crucially, the prospect of abundant, clean energy from nuclear fusion.
Fusion, yeah. Harnessing the power of the sun, essentially. A potential game changer for energy.
These aren't just small improvements, are they? They're fundamentally changing everything.
It seems that way. For the first time, it genuinely feels possible that machines could take over all the necessary work. Physical labor, complex cognitive tasks, the lot.
Which completely shifts the question for humanity. It's no longer just, how can we survive?
Right. It becomes something much more profound, more liberating. How do we want to live?
And that's exactly where universal basic income comes in. Not as some pie-in-the-sky dream, but as a realistic, maybe even necessary answer for this new era of technological abundance. Okay, so UBI. At its heart, the idea is, well, it sounds deceptively simple, doesn't it? Almost disarmingly so, if you're familiar with it. It proposes that every single human being, with absolutely no conditions attached, regularly receives money, simply because they exist. That's it.
It's radical in its simplicity. No means testing, no obligation to work for it, and crucially, no stigma attached to receiving it.
Just an income for everyone, universally.
And it's easy to underestimate just how transformative that simple idea really is. The material we've looked at really emphasizes how revolutionary this is because it fundamentally breaks with centuries, millennia really, of dogma.
The dogma being that income is only legitimate if you earn it through labor, or maybe through owning property.
Exactly. UBI flips that script entirely. It proposes this profound shift in society's foundation, moving from a system based on performance to existence.
It basically declares that your worth, your right to a dignified life, is inherent just because you're human, not dependent on your economic output.
It's a redefinition of value itself. Deep stuff. And what I find really compelling isn't just its relevance now, because as you hinted, this isn't some brand new idea cooked up in Silicon Valley, even though it might feel like that sometimes.
Right. So the question is, why now? Why has this, as the sources call it, ancient longing, been reawakened with such urgency?
Well, historically, you can trace precursors. Thomas More's Utopia back in 1516, he envisioned a society without private property where everyone was provided for. Hugely radical for its time.
Feudalism and stark class divides then.
Absolutely. Then fast forward to the 18th century, Thomas Paine, one of the U.S. founding fathers, he demanded a basic dividend for all citizens funded by levies on land ownership. Again, revolutionary, challenging the aristocracy.
And Martin Luther King Jr. too, right? In the 60s?
Yes, he saw basic income as a pathway to true equality. He understood civil rights weren't enough without fundamental economic security.
So what's different now? Why is it suddenly feeling realistic?
The crucial shift, the absolute game changer, is the power of machines. Our sources are crystal clear on this. AI, robotics, automation, they've reached a point where generating immense wealth through essentially machine labor, intellectual labor too, like inventions, decoding science. It's not just a dream anymore. It's a tangible, near-future potential.
So the tech makes the economics work in a way it never could before.
Precisely. This technological leap means that what was once an economic impossibility for a global basic income has now become potentially realistic. It's moving from philosophy into practical possibility.
Okay, so our sources lay out some really compelling arguments for UBI. They paint this picture of a truly transformed society. Let's explore some of these promises. First up, freedom from coercion. This one feels huge.
It really is. For millennia, work wasn't about voluntary creativity for most people. It was sheer compulsion.
Slave under the lash, peasant tied to the lord, factory worker tied to the clock.
Exactly. Work was necessity, rarely self-fulfillment. UBI, for the first time maybe ever, could empower an individual to just say no.
No to exploitation, no to jobs that damage your health.
Yes. No to a boss who's abusive. No to a society that only values your productivity. It's not just the freedom of the market to choose between bad jobs. It's the profound freedom of the individual to choose how they live, how they contribute, or even if they work in the traditional sense at all.
That's a massive shift.
Yeah.
Then there's the promise of an end to poverty.
Also huge. Our sources argue pretty forcefully that poverty isn't some law of nature. It's a social decision. It's about distribution.
We produce enough food, clothes, energy for everyone, right?
Yeah.
But access is the problem.
Exactly. Hundreds of millions still go hungry, not because there isn't enough, but because access is so unequal. UBI would radically correct that imbalance. It provides everyone with a piece of the global pie, crucially, without the demeaning conditions and bureaucratic hoops of traditional welfare.
So poverty wouldn't just be alleviated, it could be abolished, like smallpox.
That's the vision, not through complex medicine, but through a simple, recurring bank deposit, ensuring everyone has basic dignity.
Okay, third promise, unleashing innovation and creativity. This is exciting.
Imagine. Think of all the great minds throughout history, a Mozart, an Einstein, a Marie Curie, who might have been stuck in factory work or driving taxis just to survive.
How many geniuses, how many discoveries, how many masterpieces have we lost because people just never had the chance? Stifled by economic necessity.
UBI could end those invisible losses, freeing painters to paint without fear of destitution, engineers to invent for the joy of it, not just investor demands, young people to experiment and learn without the terror of financial failure.
So it's not the end of work, it's the beginning of something else.
The beginning of an era of creativity, curiosity, genuine human flourishing. That's how the sources frame it.
Okay, fourth, and this feels really critical right now, adapting to the age of machines.
This is probably the most immediate pressing argument. What happens when machines do almost everything better, faster, cheaper?
We're already seeing it. Algorithms replacing bankers, translators, radiologists. Robots building cars, sorting packages.
And soon, they're projected to take over admin, legal consulting, even parts of the arts. So in this context, UBI isn't a handout. It's presented as an absolute necessity.
A bridge between the old world of full employment and the coming world of full automation.
Exactly. It transforms people from being fearful competitors with machines into co-beneficiaries of this incredible progress. Everyone profits from automation.
And finally, the fifth point. Moral equality.
This goes beyond just money. UBI, as described here, is a powerful symbol. It declares simply, you are human, therefore you are worthy. Full stop.
No checking your circumstances, no humiliating welfare office visits.
No dividing people into deserving and undeserving. Everyone gets the same just for being part of humanity.
The research calls it the most radical form of equality ever to exist. Equality not just before God or the law, but right there in your bank account. A dignified baseline for every life.
And if we connect all this back to the bigger picture, it's that sheer technological tailwind that makes these arguments so powerful today. We're seeing this convergence. AI, robotics, renewables, the potential of fusion. It's creating this capacity for economic output far beyond human capacities.
That's a paradigm shift in production itself.
It really is. So UBI in this light isn't just ethics or benevolence. Our sources suggest it's not only just, but feasible and perhaps inevitable, given where technology is heading. The sheer scale of potential abundance for machines offers a tangible way to finally overcome scarcity for everyone, turning that ancient dream into a practical reality.
Those are some incredibly powerful visions, aren't they? A truly liberated future. But okay, here's where the vision hits some turbulence. Because like any grand idea that wants to fundamentally reshape society, UBI isn't without its controversies. There are strong, deeply felt criticisms. And our sources, They meticulously detail the significant challenges that these traditional UBI models face, challenges that really speak to deep concerns about human nature, about economic realities.
Indeed. And these criticisms highlight fundamental worries that you just can't easily dismiss. It's crucial we look at them head on. Let's dive into some of the biggest ones skeptics raise, which our research carefully lays out. First, there's that ancient fear, what the sources call the price of inertia.
The worry that people will just become lazy.
Exactly. If money flows without conditions, why bother working? Why strive, study, innovate if your income is secure anyway? Our sources recall historical parallels. Roman worries about bread and circuses, making citizens soft. Modern opponents calling welfare a hammock, suggesting it encourages idleness.
So the risk is,
Yeah,
what, people just consuming and being passive?
that's the fear. Not everyone will use their freedom to paint masterpieces or research science. Some might, yes, lose themselves in consumption, endless streams of shows, games, and distractions. The fear isn't just about lost economic output, it's about an erosion of the human spirit, leading to a society of bored, passive citizens, which arguably could be just as damaging as a society of stressed workers.
It really raises the question of motivation, doesn't it? What drives us when survival isn't the main thing?
Precisely. What truly motivates us? Second big concern, the price of inflation. This is a major economic hurdle.
Right. If everyone suddenly gets extra money, won't prices just shoot up to match it? Especially for things like rent.
That's the core worry. It could nullify the benefit, leaving people no better off. The analysis calls this the shadow of every monetary reform. Some economists see UBI, if not structured carefully, as generating purchasing power without necessarily creating new value. Increased demand meets limited supply.
Prices go up, the UBI effect fizzles out.
Potentially. Now, supporters might argue an automated world provides near unlimited goods, mitigating this. But the fundamental scarcity of things like housing and land, that remains a potent inflationary danger for traditional UBI models.
Not a minor point then, a
Right.
real structural challenge.
Definitely. Third, there's the challenge of injustice toward high performers. This one hits a nerve for many people, that sense of fairness rooted in meritocracy.
The question being, why should a doctor who studied for years sacrifice so much, does life-saving work? Why should they get the same basic income as someone who chooses never to work?
Exactly. UBI, by design, blurs the lines between achievement and non-achievement for that baseline income. For many, that contradicts the deep belief that income should be proportional to effort and contribution.
It creates a moral conflict, doesn't it? Is it more just to give everyone the same baseline or reward differences in effort and skill?
That's the heart of it. UBI opts for equality based on existence, fundamentally challenging that centuries-old principle of reward based on merit or performance.
Okay, fourth concern, dependence on the state. This sounds like a structural risk, too.
It is. In a classical UBI model, all citizens could become solely dependent on one single central institution for their main income.
Unlike now, where income comes from millions of different employers, a more diversified system.
Right. But if tomorrow there's only one source to state or some central system, it creates this huge new vulnerability. What if that single source fails? A cyber attack, massive corruption, a political coup.
Billions could suddenly have no income at all, with no backup.
That's the risk. The documents we studied underscore this, calling it a new vulnerability that never existed before. It concentrates power and risk in a potentially dangerous way.
Fifth, and this one always comes up, financing the eternal problem. Consistently described as the biggest criticism.
Yeah, how on earth do we pay for it on a massive scale? Supporters talk about taxes on the rich, corporations, financial markets.
But the critics say capital will just flee, go to tax havens.
That's the counter-argument. Capital is fluid, global, it could just move, leaving behind a ruined economy and an even bigger funding gap for the UBI. Our sources highlight the absolutely gigantic numbers involved. They cite Germany needing over 800 billion annually just to pay adults €1,000 a month. That's nearly double its entire federal budget.
Wow, that makes it seem like an unsolvable equation for classical models, almost economically impossible on a global scale.
It certainly presents a massive challenge. And finally, perhaps the deepest, most profound challenge, the human crisis of meaning.
This isn't economic, it's psychological.
Exactly. Arguably the greatest danger. For centuries, work hasn't just provided income, it's given structure, purpose, identity. The farmer defined by his field, the soldier by duty, the engineer by invention, the artisan by craft. What happens when that traditional source of purpose just disappears.
UBI gives financial security, but it doesn't automatically give meaning.
Precisely. People could fall into this profound existential emptiness, asking that terrifying question, why am I here? What's my purpose now? While some will absolutely use their freedom creatively, many could sink into apathy, boredom, even despair. Our sources warn that a world of abundance could paradoxically become a world of meaninglessness.
Where human potential stagnates in a sea of passive consumption. That's a really unsettling thought for the human spirit.
It truly is.
Okay, so those are some incredibly weighty criticisms. It paints a pretty grim picture for traditional UBI models. Laziness, inflation, unfairness, state dependence, impossible finances, existential crisis. It really begs the question, is there any way to make this dream work without those flaws? Is there a way forward?
Well, our sources suggest there is,
Yeah.
but it requires a complete rethink of how we fundamentally finance society. Not just tweaking the old system, but building something entirely new.
So those traditional criticisms, especially the financing problem, seem almost insurmountable. This is exactly where the concept of the electric technocracy enters the picture. It offers a radical solution, basically turning the whole principle of financing upside down. It aims to solve that unsolvable equation we just talked about.
Exactly. The core mistake, our sources argue, the fundamental blind spot of all classical UBI models lies in their outdated foundation. We've been, as they put it, trying to finance a post-industrial project with the tools of the industrial society. Think about it.
The old pillars, like income tax from human labor, corporate profits mainly from human work, consumption taxes.
Right. Those pillars are crumbling as robots and AI take over. Human labor gets replaced, profits get generated by algorithms that don't need humans, even consumption becomes automated. That old tax base just can't support the social project of tomorrow.
So we need a completely new foundation, a paradigm shift.
Precisely.
And the electric technocracy provides that new foundation by doing something genuinely revolutionary. It taxes machines, not humans.
This is a radical break. For millennia, human effort was the primary taxable thing.
So a delivery robot bringing pizza, a factory assembly system, a self-driving truck, a drone delivering packages.
All of them. Every hour of machine labor is tracked, valued, and taxed. This ensures the economic value generated by automation flows directly back into the system. It acknowledges the machine is now the source of productivity.
Simple accounting of where the wealth is actually coming from. Makes sense. What's pillar two?
Pillar 2 is the AI usage fee.
Okay, taxing the brains now, not just the brawn.
Essentially, yes. As AI becomes the economy's new brain writing texts, developing medicine, controlling logistics, generating art, every use of its immense processing power leaves a digital footprint. That footprint measuring compute time, energy, data used for tasks like writing a legal brief, helping diagnose patients, optimizing supply chains, drafting building plans, gets charged a precise fee.
And that fee automatically flows into the UBI system.
Automatically. Ensuring the cognitive labor of AI directly benefits the common good, not just private profit, capturing the value of intelligence itself.
Got it. And the third pillar.
The third is the corporate tech tax.
How is this different from regular corporate tax?
It targets companies benefiting massively from automation, using robots and AI to achieve unprecedented productivity and profit. They pay an additional profit share. Importantly, it's not framed as punishment for success. It's presented as repayment to society.
Repayment for what?
For providing the fundamental infrastructure, roads, internet, legal systems, the collector knowledge base, the educated workforce, the stable markets, everything that made their technological advancements possible in the first place. It recognizes their innovation stands on this huge collective foundation built over centuries by humanity. So society deserves a direct share of those unprecedented profits.
Okay, robot tax, AI usage fee, corporate tech tax. This integrated approach then leads to what the sources call a dynamic UBI.
Yes, and this is crucial. It's not a static income fixed forever. UBI in the electric technocracy grows directly in step with machine productivity and technological progress.
So as robots get better,
UBI goes up automatically. If energy costs plummet thanks to fusion power.
the available base expands and everyone gets more.
Exactly. As the sources state clearly, human income is directly tied to technological progress. It creates this self-sustaining, ever-improving system. The more capable the machines, the higher the prosperity and freedom for all.
Wow. Okay, so this new financing model, how does it address the criticisms of traditional UBI?
Well, quite elegantly, actually. First, no tax resistance from citizens. Why? Because humans are effectively income tax-free. That frustrating feeling of working just to pay taxes, gone.
That's a big psychological shift.
Yeah.
What about capital flight?
Machines cannot emigrate. Server farms, automated factories, they're fixed assets, so no capital flight to tax havens. That eliminates a major criticism of taxing wealth or corporations in the old way.
And you mentioned the link to progress.
Yes, the automatic coupling to progress. The more AI and robotics achieve, the higher the revenues, the higher the basic income. It makes UBI feel like a natural dividend from technology, not an artificial redistribution scheme. Machines produce, humans participate, everyone benefits proportionally.
And the source material really stresses that UBI in this model isn't charity, right? Not welfare.
Absolutely not. It's reconceptualized as a fundamental right, an inherent inheritance of technological progress that belongs equally to every human. Like clean air or sunlight, the argument goes, the output of automation isn't owned by a few corporations. It's built on millennia of shared human knowledge. Therefore, it belongs to all of humanity. UBI is a claim on that collective wealth.
Not a favor from the state, but a right.
Exactly.
Okay, but how do you prevent cheating, tax evasion, corruption, especially with such vast sums flowing through the system?
This is where AI plays another crucial role. A powerful, incorruptible AI acts as the financial guardian.
A guardian.
Yes. It oversees the entire system in real time. It registers every unit of machine labor, every instance of AI value creation. Tax evasion becomes virtually impossible because the system sees everything instantly. More importantly, it distributes the revenues transparently and automatically. No human bias, no political interference, no bureaucratic delays or inefficiencies.
So instead of millions of tax officials, one AI manages the global flow. Tamper-proof.
That's the vision. Based on the incorruptibility of algorithms, an unprecedented level of fairness and efficiency.
Okay, this level of integration, this AI oversight, it leads, the sources argue, to a truly post-scarcity world where poverty itself is redefined.
Right, and one of the most radical outcomes is the abolition of the tax burden for humans. People become tax-free.
No income tax, no mandatory contributions tied to work, no compulsion to work for survival.
Exactly. Doesn't mean you can't work. But work becomes voluntary, creative, pursued for passion or innovation, and it's completely tax-free. A powerful incentive for genuine contribution, free from financial pressure.
And beyond UBI, the vision includes expanded social fundamental rights.
Yes, UBI is just the beginning of this tech-driven safety net. Think fully automated healthcare diagnostics, treatment, aftercare, all funded by the machine taxes. No more medical debt.
Universal AI customized education, too.
Yes, tailored to every individual's pace and style, unlocking potential like never before. Construction robots building high-quality housing, ending homelessness, free high-speed internet, and digital access as a universal right. It's a level of social security and opportunity far beyond anything we have today.
Which ultimately culminates in what they call post-scarcity prosperity.
Where poverty no longer means lacking food or shelter or facing existential threat. Instead, poverty might just mean less access to luxury, maybe fewer bespoke experiences, less access to the most exotic goods.
Because basic needs are just met abundantly.
Yes, robotic factories produce on demand, eliminating waste and shortages. Fusion power provides near-limitless clean energy. Nanotechnology enables tailored materials. True material deprivation becomes a relic of the past, a historical curiosity.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. Machines take over all the necessary work. Basic needs are guaranteed through this UBI within the electric technocracy. What happens to us, to humanity? Our sources talk about a potential 100-fold leap in productivity, a world where global GDP could outstrip the combined efforts of all human labor across history in maybe just one generation. It's hard to even comprehend.
It's an almost unimaginable scale of abundance. It forces us to ask fundamental questions about our role and purpose.
And this isn't just gradual improvement. The sources talk about the singularity as a civilizational breakthrough. Can you unpack that?
Right, the technological singularity, that hypothetical point where tech growth, driven mainly by artificial superintelligence or ASI, becomes uncontrollable, irreversible. It leads to unforeseeable changes. Our sources anticipate this ASI compressing centuries of scientific discovery into days, solving mysteries in physics, medicine, biology that have stumped us for millennia, redesigning energy, agriculture, transport systems for near perfection.
It would feel, the sources say, as if we suddenly received the accumulated wisdom of thousands of years of future evolution, just arriving almost overnight.
It's a profound shift.
The analysis uses this really powerful metaphor. It'll be As if aliens landed.
Yeah, but not hostile aliens with weapons. Benevolent ones arriving with knowledge. Cures for diseases, blueprints for unlimited energy, solutions to every ecological crisis.
But the twist is, this intelligence isn't from outer space.
No, it emerges from within our own circuits, codes, and silicon. An otherworldly intelligence born from our own creations, offering humanity the tools to transcend its limits, almost like our own collective mind accelerating beyond belief.
Okay, so we have this incredible freedom from fear, from necessity, but that brings its own psychological dilemma, doesn't it?
A profound one. For millennia, human meaning was tied up with survival, with necessity. We worked to eat, fought to protect, studied to overcome challenges. Those struggles gave inherent purpose.
Structure to our lives.
Exactly. Now, remove necessity. Guarantee basic needs via machines. Humanity faces this potential psychological vacuum. The question becomes stark. What do we do when survival is guaranteed? What happens to ambition, to struggle, to competition, which often spurred innovation?
The sources call it a paradox of abundance. Too little income makes people desperate.
But too much guaranteed income could make them indifferent, potentially leading to apathy. Will people fall into boredom, decadence, nihilism?
That's the core psychological challenge, isn't it? When life is secured, meaning isn't automatic anymore. It has to be actively reinvented, sought out.
It needs to be cultivated.
But the electric technocracy, it doesn't just leave us adrift. It envisions a new cultural narrative emerging, a rediscovery of meaning beyond mere survival.
Yes, the sources suggest several profound arenas where meaning could flourish in this age of ASI.
Okay, like what?
First, exploration. Not just outer space, establishing humanity among the stars, understanding the cosmos, but also inner space. Delving into the depths of human consciousness, exploring new dimensions of reality via advanced interfaces. Second,
Creation. Pursuing art, science, philosophy purely for their own sake, for the joy of discovery, the beauty of expression, not for survival or profit. Imagine a world where everyone could be an artist, a scientist, a philosopher, dedicating their lives to it.
third, connection.
Fostering deeper, more authentic human relationships, free from the distortions of economic dependence, competition, work pressures, a potential renaissance of community and empathy.
And fourth, transcendence.
Using advanced biotechnology, cybernetics perhaps, to expand and redefine what it means to be human, pushing our boundaries, maybe even unlocking new senses or forms of cognition.
So the electric technocracy isn't just economics. It's framed as this sweeping, psychological, even evolutionary revolution.
That seems to be the implication.
And in this new order, with ASI handling the mechanics of reality, resource management, what's humanity's role? The sources say we become co-creators.
Yes, we become the dreamers, the storytellers, the visionaries. We imagine possibilities, and ASI has the capacity to make them real with astonishing speed and precision. The boundary between thought and creation dissolves.
Effectively, yes. A child sketches a dream city, AI builds it, complete with ecosystems. An artist describes a sculpture, robots carve it perfectly. A scientist hypothesizes a cure, quantum simulations deliver it.
So we're not rulers, machines, but partners in this unprecedented leap.
Partners where human imagination is the primary catalyst for progress and wonder. That's the vision.
This transformation could also lead, the sources suggest, to the return of awe. How so?
Well, for centuries, religion offered awe through mystery, the divine, the unexplained. Science often replaced mystery with method, sometimes losing that sense of enchantment. But with ASI, awe could return. Not as superstition, but as lived reality.
Because machines will solve the unsolvable. Abundance becomes universal. The cosmos unfolds before us.
Exactly. It will feel as though the universe itself has awakened and is speaking to us. Humanity living in a state once reserved for prophets and mystics. Constant awe at the unfolding miracle of existence.
That's quite a vision.
It really is. Ultimately, UBI in the electric technocracy is presented as more than just economics. It's truly a psychological experiment on the scale of all humanity. And the core question remains profound. Can humans actually handle that much freedom once we're no longer forced by necessity to struggle?
Some will flourish, create, explore.
Undoubtedly. Others might choose to consume, dream, maybe do nothing much at all. And society, our sources suggest, must learn to tolerate both. Without moral condemnation, but also without letting itself stagnate into apathy.
Finding that delicate balance, where UBI empowers self-determination, but doesn't sedate the human spirit.
That seems to be the crucial challenge.
So we've explored this potential paradise built by technology. But our sources don't just stop there with the rosy picture. They make it incredibly clear. The technological singularity, well, probably inevitable in some form. It's absolutely not a guarantee of utopia. It is unequivocally a fork in the road.
hmm And this presents an uncomfortable truth, doesn't it? The very same ASI that could cure cancer in seconds, it could also design the most perfect, inescapable surveillance system imaginable.
The same robotics that could feed every hungry child could also build armies without conscience, machines acting without any moral restraint.
Absolutely. The outcome depends entirely not on the machines themselves, but on the social contract we build around them.
Mm.
The values we embed, the distribution mechanisms we choose. It's about governance.
Our sources lay out two starkly contrasting paths humanity could take when faced with this incredibly powerful technological singularity. The choice is monumental.
It really is. First, let's consider the dystopian path. Power without distribution.
Okay, what does that look like?
Imagine a scenario where the immense, almost godlike power of the singularity is captured, owned, hoarded by just a handful of corporations or authoritarian states. ASI, in this chilling vision, becomes their private genie, fulfilling their desires, amplifying their control, while largely ignoring or actively marginalizing billions of others.
Productivity skyrockets, presumably.
Oh, to unimaginable levels. But all that new wealth flows upward, not outward. The result: a stark, two-tiered society. A small, privileged elite ascends into what the sources graphically call post-human godhood, transcending human limits through advanced tech, while the vast majority, they sink into digital feudalism,
Digital feudalism.
reduced to mere data points in a system they don't control or benefit from, surviving only if the elite chooses to let them survive. True freedom is replaced by a new, technologically advanced form of tyranny. It's a terrifying prospect.
It really is. Okay, so what's the alternative? The other path?
The alternative is the paradise path, enabled by the electric technocracy.
How is that different?
In this vision, the singularity isn't hoarded. It's recognized as the common inheritance of humanity. Automation, AI, robotics, their output is collectively taxed and distributed as global wealth, a dividend for all. Every human receives UBI, not as charity, but as their rightful share of planetary productivity and innovation.
And those expanded rights we talked about: healthcare, education, housing, digital access.
They become fundamental rights, ensuring no one fears starvation, homelessness, or exclusion. Creativity, exploration, self-actualization replace necessity as the driving force of human life.
This is the electric technocracy, not a government of politicians, but an administration of technology designed for the benefit of all.
Exactly. Here, ASI doesn't enslave, it fundamentally liberates.
So paradise, then, is clearly presented as a choice, not an accident.
Absolutely. History teaches us that crucial, often painful lesson. Technology alone never guarantees justice or a good outcome.
The printing press spread knowledge, but also propaganda that fueled wars.
Nuclear power lights cities, but can destroy them instantly. The internet connects billions, but also enables mass surveillance and manipulation.
The singularity will be no different. Its nature is defined by how we choose to wield it.
And without deliberate design, without conscious social choices, the singularity will simply amplify existing inequalities and power structures. That's the default path.
That alien metaphor comes back here, doesn't it?
It does. If that alien knowledge were hoarded by one king or one corporation, humanity fractures. A few benefit immensely, the rest suffer. But if shared equally, humanity ascends together.
ASI is the same, only with collective intention. With a conscious decision to distribute its benefits as the electric technocracy proposes, can it become the engine of universal prosperity.
The question isn't if this intelligence arrives, but how we integrate its wisdom, and crucially, for whose benefit.
Which brings us to that final contrast our sources present. It's incredibly stark. The singularity itself, probably inevitable, but paradise, definitely not.
We face two profoundly different futures, direct consequences of our collective decisions right now.
Path 1, an age where 10 trillion machines work for the profit of a few. Technological might consolidating power and wealth, creating unimaginable disparity, digital oppression.
Path 2, an age where 10 trillion machines work for the freedom of all. Automation's boundless productivity harnessed to liberate everyone from scarcity and compulsion, unlocking true human potential.
It's a decision between technological feudalism or technological democracy, between collapse into digital serfdom or ascent into an electronic paradise.
And UBI, financed by AI and robotics within an electric technocracy. It's not just economics. It is, as the sources put it, the hinge on which the future turns. the critical mechanism determining which reality we inhabit.
Okay, this next part gets really unsettling. It takes a sharp geopolitical turn. Our sources reveal this darker, more insidious dimension to the future we're discussing, the illusion of immortality being wielded as a political weapon. We've seen how technology could build a paradise, but the sources warn about this critical trap, a profound choice the electric technocracy is designed to resolve and prevent. This goes way beyond economics, right into our deepest human desires and fears.
Indeed. Humanity has always dreamed of escaping death. It's a longing stretching from ancient myths like Gilgamesh, through medieval alchemists searching for the elixir of life, right up to modern Silicon Valley cryonics ventures. Our sources observe that now, with AI and bioengineering advancing so rapidly, this ancient dream suddenly seems plausible. It's transforming from a philosophical quest into a tangible possibility.
And that changes everything.
Completely, because, as the source material states, immortality has always been the ultimate currency. Whoever controls it controls humanity itself. The promise of extended life, once just a personal hope, has become this incredibly potent political tool, ripe for manipulation.
Our sources present this fascinating, but frankly chilling, axis of immortality, two false paths emerging. Both deceptive, both dangerous. What are they?
Okay, on one side, there's what the material labels Trump's promise of biological immortality.
Alrighty.
As presented here, it's a vision of eternal life achieved through radical medical breakthroughs, life extension tech, advanced bioengineering often backed by tech elites and huge AI megaprojects.
But it's not for everyone.
No, that's the key. It's depicted as exclusive, a luxury product reserved for those who can afford it or those who control access to the tech. In this scenario, time itself, lifespan, becomes privatized. Longevity is a privilege, not a right, creating an elite of the eternals.
A biologically superior class, almost. Okay, what's the other side of this axis?
The other side is termed Putin's doctrine of political immortality.
How does that work? It's not about living forever biologically.
No, this form of eternity is achieved through endless war. By institutionalizing conflict, turning a state of emergency into the permanent norm, a regime can make itself eternal. Its power becomes unquestioned, perpetual.
Constitutions vanish, elections become meaningless, power never rotates.
Exactly. The state survives not by extending the lives of its citizens, but by maintaining a permanent crisis, using that crisis to legitimize repression and perpetual rule. Eternity here becomes absolute, unchanging tyranny. The leader becomes an immortal symbol of an unchanging, oppressive state.
So biological immortality for the elite, political immortality for the regime. How do these connect?
Together, our sources argue, they form this sinister alliance, the axis of immortality. Technology promises eternal bodies for a few. Perpetual conflict promises eternal power for the rulers. The mechanism is alarmingly simple and effective. Fear keeps the masses obedient, anxious, looking for security. Longevity keeps the elites beyond reach, physically and psychologically separate from normal mortality. War legitimizes tyranny, providing the excuse to suspend rights and concentrate power. And technology privatizes time itself, making life the ultimate commodity bought, sold, withheld.
The sources then ask why both lead to slavery. What's the answer?
It's stark. Eternal life for the few inevitably means slavery for the many. If a small group controls indefinite lifespan, they gain an overwhelming, perhaps insurmountable advantage. They render others obsolete or subservient to their extended will. Similarly, eternal power for rulers means silence for the rest. When power never rotates, dissent is crushed, change is impossible. Stagnation and repression follow.
So together, they don't liberate humanity. They just freeze it.
They suspend history itself. Biological immortality without equality isn't a triumph. It's apartheid of time itself, creating this unbridgeable gap. And political immortality without freedom isn't stability, it's the freezing of human potential. Both paths kill the human spirit by denying progress and change.
Okay, so in stark contrast to these two incredibly dangerous paths, what do the sources offer as the alternative? The electric technocracy's vision.
It offers true immortality, but not for individuals or regimes. It's the profound, enduring immortality of the species.
Meaning collective survival and flourishing.
Exactly. A future of shared prosperity, unbounded creativity, cosmic exploration, where UBI, funded by AI and automation, ensures everyone participates in the productivity of machines, creating a collective foundation for sustained human civilization. This represents the continuity of human civilization, flourishing beyond scarcity, fear, and manipulation. That's the collective eternity worth striving for, a shared destiny, not a privatized privilege.
The epilogue section in our sources illustrates the consequence of not choosing that path, right? Of falling for the axis of immortality.
Yes, vividly and chillingly. It describes a perverse synthesis. Eternal life for the few, eternal power for the few, and, critically, eternal servitude for everyone else.
A cruel pattern emerges.
A horrifying one, where those replaced by machines in the economy deemed excess human material are then sent to fight and die on battlefields in manufactured wars. These conflicts aren't portrayed as genuine struggles, but as less real than carefully staged theater to maintain power, where humans are expected to eliminate each other in trenches.
So the dismissal notice from the factory leads straight to the draft notice for the front lines.
That's the chilling cycle described. Ensuring scarcity and struggle persist for the many. Even in an age where abundance is technically possible, our sources make it absolutely clear only the electric technocracy, by fairly distributing machine abundance as a right to all, can prevent eternity itself from becoming this new, sophisticated, utterly dehumanizing form of tyranny.
Outro. Wow. What an incredible and, frankly, quite profound journey we've been on today. We've really wrestled with humanity's age-old struggle against scarcity, and we've seen how this vision of an electric technocracy, built on the revolutionary foundation of universal basic income, could potentially, for the first time ever, truly liberate us, allowing us to finally dream of asking not just how do we survive, but that much bigger question, how do we truly want to live?
And we've explored the ingenious, really detailed ways this could actually be financed, moving way beyond the failings of traditional models by taxing the machines themselves, not people, through robot taxes, AI usage fees, corporate tech taxes, all overseen potentially by an incorruptible AI acting as a financial guardian. A system designed to free humans from taxation, from compulsory labor, ensuring UBI grows dynamically with progress.
But it's so much more than just economics, isn't it? It's this profound psychological shift, and it presents us with this incredibly stark choice.
Absolutely. A choice between a shared electronic paradise built on distributed abundance or a dystopian digital feudalism where even the ancient dream of immortality becomes just another tool of oppression and control.
This deep dive really leaves us at a profound fork in the road. It feels urgent. The future, with its inevitable technological leaps, the coming of ASI, it isn't pre-written, is it?
No, it's a choice we as a society are making right now, with every decision about how we develop and deploy these technologies.
Will we harness this unprecedented power for universal flourishing, creating a truly abundant, free existence for everyone? Or will we allow it to forge new forms of tyranny, concentrating power, privatizing the very essence of life itself?
It's a question for all of us, isn't it? To keep exploring, to engage with, and ultimately to collectively decide.
Thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning.